All right. Hey everyone, this is Matt with the Northern Angler in Traverse City, Michigan. Just going to take a quick few minutes and talk about one of our favorite things to do here in Northern Michigan, and that's steelheading. We're just going to cover the basics today. We're going to talk about what is it, where do we fish it, when do we fish it, how do we fish it. Stay tuned though, we're going to do a lot more videos like this where we talk about specific rigging techniques, how to apply those, and hopefully some even some on the water content. I always need an excuse to get out fishing, so hopefully we'll use this as one. So, all right, we get a lot of questions about this in the shop. Steelhead get a lot of attention because it's an awesome fish. It's a big fish that's usually not available to fly fishermen, that suddenly we have tons of them in our rivers and you can fish for them. So number one, what is a steelhead? At least as it is in northern Michigan, it's a rainbow trout that spends most of its life out in the big Great Lakes. So for us, Huron and Lake Michigan. There's been some studies out there that actually show steelhead treat those two lakes as one. So we get a lot of movement between the two during the summers. Those fish have a lot of freedom to chase food and grow nice, big, and healthy. So being out in the lake, you really can't get to them with a fly rod. Sure, you can get out there once in a while with some scum line action, but you're burning a lot of fuel for, something that might not work out. So in the fall, we get them into the rivers. In the winter, in the spring, we get them as well. But again, it's a big rainbow trout, and there's some debate with genetics. We're not going to get into that today. There's plenty of info out there online. You can decide for yourself. All I know is it's a big fish and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so it's worth checking out. When do we fish for them? So in the fall, right now it's October, we get fish coming in that follow up our king and coho salmon, and they get heavy onto the egg bite. There's so much in the system that they can't refuse it. So mid-October we start seeing steelhead mixed in with our salmon, and we like to shift over as the salmon become a little less exciting. They start to fall apart a little bit, and they hit the reds. We shift over and we fish for steelhead. Now, our fall fishery lasts, as into December. It's October, November, a little bit of December. And that's where fish have ideal water temperatures. They're very active. Once they're off the egg, you can even use some streamers and catch them, and it's a lot of fun. Winter fish are kind of stubborn. They stay in the system throughout the winter, and they start to gorge themselves. Well, not gorge themselves, but they feed on stuff that normal trout in our streams would find. So once those eggs are all gone, they shift over. They have to eat something. So we see a lot of fish that eat nymphs like stoneflies, caddisflies, hex nymphs, things like that. We do a lot of nymphing in the wintertime, as you can guess. In the springtime, we get a huge push of fish coming up into the rivers to spawn. Steelhead spawn in the springtime. So they'll come up. Again, there will be a big egg bite. We try not to fish for any of them on the reds, but there's always some fish that are waiting you can fish to. And then once those fish have spawned, they go back out into the lake. This is the best part. So the salmon we get, they die after they spawn. These fish keep coming back and getting bigger every year. That's what makes it so exciting. You can really catch some worked up fish on the way back. Again, kind of like our fall fish where you can use streamers and those fish will chase them down. It's really exciting. So again, fall is October, November. Winter fishery is December, January, February, and then spring fish start really up in March. And we'll get them a little bit into May, but bet on March and April being your heaviest months. Now we got to talk about how we fish for them. There's three main methods. Okay, so number one is chuck and duck. You may have heard of that. If you need a visual, maybe I'll put up a visual here, but we have a great article on our website about what that is. Think of it as bottom bouncing. Okay, you're using a great deal of weight, whether it's lead, whether it's tin, whether it's tungsten, and you are bouncing along the bottom. it's extremely effective because it's really good at getting flies and whatever you're using right in front of the fish. It's really good at that. It's not usually the prettiest thing, thus the name. Many chuck and duck fishermen use straight mono off their fly rods. There's no, you don't even have to use a fly line for it. So it's something we borrowed from spin fishermen and we've adapted to fly fishing because we like fighting fish on fly rods. We love the action, and you don't have to go buy all new gear to do it. However, certain rivers don't work well for this method because they're choked full of wood, debris, things you're going to snag up on if you're bottom bouncing. Certain rivers like the Manistee we fish a lot is custom built almost, it feels like, for chuck and duck fishing because you have sand and gravel. You don't have all those hang-ups. So that might be worth checking out. A lot of folks first getting into steelhead fishing start this way. Okay. Again, check out the diagram on our website and the articles page about rigging for salmon and steelhead. That'll give a little bit more light as what that looks like. Second method is indicator nymphing. Not all that different from anything you've done before. There's a bobber or an indicator, there's a floating fly line, there's a leader, there's some split shot, and there's some flies. Pretty simple. This works great when we're suspending flies and fish are feeding at a very specific level, and especially in those rivers full of wood and debris where you don't want to lose and retie all day long, especially as it gets cold on your hands out there in the winter. Super effective. The most effective fishermen doing this are constantly adjusting to their surroundings. Each hole is going to be different. Each run's going to be different, and it might be worth checking out some spots other people aren't fishing. You know, steelhead move constantly. They don't just sit in those holes and those obvious lies all the time. Once in a while, we catch fish in places you'd never expect. Okay. The last method is swing or a stripped fly. Not so different from streamer fishing. You'll see a lot of folks that really enjoy doing this with a two-handed rod with a Skagit or Scandi setup. We'll get into that a little bit. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I'll have a whole series of videos about two-handed fishing. But all you need to know is that we're targeting very active, very lively fish that are going to be so aggressive they're going to chase a streamer down and just smash it. You barely have to set the hook on those fish. They just want to go. It's a really fun way to fish. Sometimes you catch less, but you catch very good quality fish doing that. Again, there's diagrams on our website about how all these go together. But those are the three main methods. Again, you have chuck and duck, indicator nymphing, and swung or stripped fly. There's some offshoots. Center pin, we can talk about that another time. That's kind of an offshoot since you're not really using your fly gear to do that. I don't group it in this, although it's very effective. But just wanted to cover those things. So far we've covered what a steelhead is, when do we fish for them, and how you use them. Stay tuned for some more information coming down the line. Again, we'll talk about rigs and all that, but check out our website for more info. Stop in the Northern Angler here in Traverse City, Michigan. Check us out online at thenorthernangler.com. Get out there, go fishing, get ready. Those fish are a rush. We'll see you out there on the river. Thanks.